Welcome to the real life show, Living with a Chronic Illness. We are your hosts, Cassie and Chelsea. I'm Cassie, a single mom living with a chronic illness who is extremely passionate about living a full and happy life.
And I'm Chelsea, a mindset coach that has a passion for helping people learn to put themselves first and be the best version of themselves each and every day.
We came together to create Spoonies Unite, an uplifting community that offers resources, guidance, and support so you can live your best life while giving you the space to be yourself, be heard, and feel understood. We hope that by providing education from experts, we help Spoonies and their loved ones thrive.
This show is not only for those who live with a chronic illness, but their friends, family, spouses, and just anyone else existing on the earth. Our goal is to normalizing having a chronic illness by sharing the real stories with real people and show the world how relatable those everyday struggles can be. There's a little something in here for everyone.
And of course, thank you to our patrons for your continued support making this possible. If you love our show and want to get some extra goodies, go to patreon.com/TheRealSpooniesUnite. Enjoy the show. Hi, everybody, and welcome to the real life show, Living with a Chronic Illness. Today, we are interviewing the wonderfully amazing Renee Dzandzo-Caesar. A little bit about her is that she has been suffering with endometriosis since she was 16 and only found out when she was 19. She started her chronic illness page on Instagram when she was 21 last December, and she's in her third year of law school and wishes to become a barrister, aka lawyer or attorney, in the near future, possibly specializing in clinical negligence, which is amazing. Mm-hmm. She wishes to grow her Instagram page and inspire others to reach their fullest potential while battling their horrible illness, but also to reassure them that it's okay to rest, it's okay to take breaks, and it's okay to put your health first.
We enjoy talking to all of our guests, but it was just such an easy conversation with Renee. We truly felt like we were just some girlfriends sitting around, getting to know each other, having conversations. Renee has a lot of amazing insight and tips on taking care of yourself, giving yourself the space to rest, dealing with pain, body positivity, sexuality, all the amazing things. So I hope you enjoy this episode. And I just want to make sure that people know there is some lightly explicit content, I guess, at the end. We do talk about sex. So if you're someone who doesn't want to listen to sex, when you start hearing the conversation change, skip it.
Yeah.
But it's very PG for us.
I was going to say, it's definitely not PG. Graphic.
Yeah. No. So I was like lightly explicit, I guess.
I think when we upload our episodes, they're all checked in the explicit box.
Because we say fuck.
A little too often.
And my mom was just so proud when I just dropped that bomb right there.
Yeah, I definitely had a friend be like, do you need to cuss so much? And I was like, yes.
Yes, we do.
So
this is who we are. If you don't like it, please find a different podcast to listen to.
But keep listening to us too.
Sorry. Yeah. Not sorry. Sorry, not sorry. We like to swear. It's who we are.
Yes.
But go listen to this conversation with Renee. And you could pause this episode as long as you're not driving. Please don't if you're driving. But pause. Go check out Renee's Instagram page like right now. Mm-hmm. Go see it. And then keep listening.
At Ray Does It.
Yep. And it's linked in our show notes. So here's the interview. We hope you enjoy it. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of the real life show, Living with a Chronic Illness. Today, we have a special guest with us, Renee Dzandzo-Caesar. Hi. Hi, Renee.
Hey.
Thank you for taking time to talk to us. I know it is a very different time zone for you because you're in London.
I am, yeah.
Yay! So, Renee, can you tell our listeners a little bit about who you are and how you've gotten to where you are today?
Yeah, so my name's Renee and I am currently in my third year of university studying law. And alongside this, I've had my journey with endometriosis. It started when I was 16, was when I had kind of my first flare, ended up in hospital. I was kind of told it would be a one-off type of thing and it wouldn't ever happen again. So I kind of went on with my life for the rest of GCSEs, kind of like struggled through it. And then that was that. In college, it became a bit more of an issue because it was more like, It came up about maybe 3 or 4 times in the year throughout my college experience. And during this time, I was going to scans all the time. I was in and out of the doctors. I think I might have gone to hospital maybe twice in that time, not many times. But when I hit university, it was a whole different story. It was in and out of A&E. It was scans all the time. And it became unbearable. It was laying on the ground, crying. My mum and my sister coming to sit with me on the stairs. Like, it became a thing where I wasn't really sure how I was going to continue my education, because I am so set on becoming a barrister, and to be a barrister you have to be very academic, and to be academic you have to attend school, and it started to really implement my grades and affect everything in my life. So I cried to my doctor and I said, look, like, I really need help now. Like, this is serious. Like, I know that I'm doing these scans and nothing's coming back, but it's time that you guys help me, like properly help me. So I had this scan done at a private hospital. They sent me to a private hospital. I didn't have to pay for it, thank God. And after they done all the scans and the works, whatever they did, they done so much stuff. The gynae doctor came to me and they were like, I don't understand why all this time, it's so obvious you have endometriosis. Look, I can show you on your scan. It's here the endo lesions, da, 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 da. And I was like, what? And he was so surprised that no one had told me. He said, how have you had all these scans? He can see them all and no one has told you. And I cried, because he also said that I was infertile. He said a lot of stuff to a 19-year-old girl. And there was a lot. And this was the appointment I decided to go by myself, because I'd been to so many and they say the same thing: there's nothing wrong with you, there's nothing wrong with you. I thought, what's the point of dragging my mom at 9 a.m. in the morning? You know, like, I might as well just go by myself. Ended up being the worst experience ever. And I came home and I cried. And my stepdad and my mom sat in the living room with me and like prayed over me, and just had like a nice little ceremony kind of thing in the living room. And I kind of felt better, but it was still really like deep in my head. Like, I have this thing and I don't know what it's about. I done a little Googling, couldn't really find much. I just saw a lot of scary stuff, you know, people having surgeries and nothing comforting. So I just kind of went on with it. But when I was 21 and I started university, that was in my second year, because I had to take a year out. In my second year now, I decided to advocate. I decided that I wanted to meet other people with endo. I decided that I wanted to kind of bring that to my Instagram, not knowing there was actually people who done this. So when I typed in, like, in the hashtag box, like endo and adenomyosis and PCOS and all of that kind of stuff, I found so many different accounts. It was like this whole new world. I had no idea what the word spoonie was, what a warrior was. And it was a whole new world. It was so intriguing. So I decided to look through some accounts, and I spoke to so many different warriors, and so many people like took me in and like was speaking to me and was saying, yeah, this is their journey, this is their experience. And I thought, oh my God, wow, I'm not alone. And all these times when I go to A&E and I get dismissed, it's not just me. And taking years and years for someone to notice you, it's not just me. And I thought, wow, like, I found somewhere I can call home, and there's other people like me. And so I started off doing the page last December, just for endo. And then I found women with adenomyosis, and then I found spoonies of all types gravitating toward my page. So I thought, no, let me not do just endo, let me do chronic illness, because it's a whole spectrum. Like, there's so many people. What about the undiagnosed, the misdiagnosed, you know? And it just became this journey that I didn't know what I was doing at first, but it just kind of took off. And from there I started advocating, and it's been one of the like most amazing things ever, because it's given me so much support and so much light in this journey. Like, I don't think I would have reached my third year of university without my account. Like, I would have given up, but I've had so much support. People keep pushing me and speaking to people, and just having that overwhelming feeling of like not being by yourself has allowed me to get to where I am, and also be okay with like when I'm not well and when I have to take time out. And I think that's so important, because it's only been really this year when I've allowed myself to like be unwell and have days in bed and just kind of, you know, be sick, I guess, because before I used to hide it so much, and then ignore me being ill. Like my stomach would be killing me, and I would still go out and I would still do things, and I'll end up in a train station crying or passing out. Like I passed out in a train station countless amount of times, and it's like,
oh, no.
why do I keep putting myself through this? Because I know I'm not feeling well. And these were times I wasn't on medication, and I knew I wasn't feeling well. I knew I wasn't strong enough, but because I wanted to fit in and still get on with life, because I felt like there was no other way, I would push my body beyond, you know, what it needed to be. And then I'd go to work and end up in A&E, and then I'd go to uni and end up in A&E. And it just was a very up and down cycle. So I've learnt a lot, and I'm at a place where I feel like I am in control of my illness for once, and just, you know, in a happy medium bubble where I can still study. I'm on my way to becoming a barrister. I'm almost there, and I've got my advocating page as well. Like I feel finally content with a happy medium. So yeah,
that's amazing.
Oh my God.
Sometimes Cassie and I think the same thing.
I know. My goodness. So
you go ahead, Cassie.
I was going to say you go. I'll go. Okay.
You go.
So first, just really quick for all of our maybe very American listeners or others who don't know, a barrister is the equivalent of like a lawyer or attorney. I didn't know if everyone knew that or not. I mean,
no, I was going to ask, but I didn't want to sound stupid.
Okay, perfect.
Thanks for being the UK translator, Cassie.
Yeah. So yeah, barrister is that's the equivalent. So lawyer or attorney. So obviously we all know how much dedication, schooling, discipline, time, effort, energy, stress, all the things that's involved in that. And A&E is accident and emergency, which is like an ER.
That was the other thing I was like, I think I know what you're trying to say, but again, I didn't want to ask and look stupid.
No, you're
Thank
fine.
you both for educating me today.
And everyone else who's listening. I mean, it's these like little differences, you know, to like the British language, which the English language is based off of, might I add. So this American language,
the American English? Yeah,
right.
American English is messed up.
It started in England. Let's just be sure that everyone knows that. English, England. Okay, anyway. So I just have to throw that on there. So can I ask too, Renee, like you said, you are now in a really good place and doing your studies, and you've got your page, which can I also add to that, our page is also what has kept me going in really dark times too. And when I have had a hard time looking forward and like what the world is going to be like, what life is going to look like for the next however many years, our page and community and interacting with other people and seeing that we're not alone, and that connection has been like life-changing for me too. So I totally get how you feel about that. And I do want to talk like in a little bit too about how open and raw you are on your page, because we are also like that. And that was something I was really drawn to about your account too. And kind of like female empowerment and the body shaming. I definitely want to talk about that too.
And Renee's account will be linked in our show notes.
Yes.
For anyone that's like, I need to go follow her, because you do. The answer is yes. Go follow her right now.
Yes, go follow her.
Yes.
But yeah, I wanted to ask, like you said, you're in a good place now. And so what medications are you taking for endometriosis? How is it being treated? Have you had any surgeries for it? Because from my understanding with endometriosis, again, there's not a whole lot that can be done, like many of our chronic illnesses out there.
Yeah. So currently so I've never been on any medication up until this year, January, which is when I got prescribed tramadol, because, you know, they gave me, what did they give me? Codridamol, I think, before, but it done nothing for me but make me ill. So I kind of lied to my doctor and said I was taking it. It doesn't work, because it was just making me really unwell. So I just didn't take it. Then they gave me tramadol in January, because it was getting to a point where I just couldn't walk. I just couldn't do anything, especially on my periods. Like it was just unbearable. Like I'll just cry for 5 days straight, and at work I couldn't go in. Like it was just too much. So he gave me tramadol, so I was on that, kind of on off. But the thing is, I can't swallow tablets, so I was finding it very difficult to take. So I'd have to take the capsule apart and take the cap and take the powder, and it's disgusting.
Oh, I've so been there. Oh my God.
Yeah. So it's like it wasn't really working out. So I found a different way of taking tramadol, which is to put it in orange juice, and that is the easiest way to take it, and it's not bitter, and that is how I take it now. But obviously, because I had to keep it on a daily basis and I was taking so much of it, I spoke to my doctor and he wasn't happy because I kept having to beg if I didn't get hold of my normal doctor, I spoke to a different doctor, they didn't want to prescribe it to me. So I had to keep begging for it and begging for it and begging for it. And they were like, no, sorry, I'll give you paracetamol. And I was like, no, sorry, it's not going to work. Yeah. So after that, then he put me on buprenorphine patches, and that was in August. And we've been going up the stages with the amount of doses. So I'm on 20 milligrams per hour now of buprenorphine patches, which is equivalent to 40 grams of morphine every 24 hours. And I also take tramadol as breakthrough pain, so I take that maybe once or twice, sometimes 3 times a day on top of that at the moment. I had a laparoscopy done in February. It was an emergency laparoscopy because I was dying, and they were like, you know what, fine, we'll do it now. So what happened was it was done at the private hospital, but it was done in a private hospital where I hadn't done my own research. Not only did they have 0 endometriosis or adenomyosis specialists whatsoever, they have standard gynae, it was just very standard. I came out of my surgery worse than I went in, and it was a very upsetting time because I was assuming that even though I knew it wasn't going to be top quality, I expected at least something to get me through. I had my diagnosis before through MRI and ultrasound, and I had the laparoscopy done. And when I came out, he gave me this whatever it was, the discharge notes or whatever that came through the post, and he was like, "Well, we couldn't find any endometriosis. But we found loads of scar tissue, but there's no endometriosis, and we don't know what's wrong with you. It's probably just a bowel problem." And he called, when I had because it was COVID, he called me and was just like, "So are you better then?" And I was like, "No, I'm still in so much pain." And he was like, "Oh, but why?" And I was like, "Well, because
the doctor's asking you why."
Literally. And I was like, "Nothing has changed." And he was like, "Oh, nothing at all." And I was like, "No." And he was there like, "Well, if it was just a scar tissue, then you should be fine by now." And I was like, "Okay, well, I'm not fine." And I was like, and he was like, "Oh, okay, well, let's, I'm going to send it over to your doctor, and your doctor can send you over to a bowel specialist." And I was like, "I don't have bowel issues." He was like, "Okay, let's just do it anyways." So he basically just did not care. And he completely signed me off, as he basically just was done with me. I cried to my doctor because he's seen me in the worst of states. So he understands. And he was like, "I'm not going to take your diagnosis away from you. Clearly, this has not helped. We still do need to do all the other stuff, like give you hormones and all of that jazz, because if we're going to treat endometriosis, we can't give you another laparoscopy right now anyways. We're going to have to give you hormones, all of that kind of jazz." He never took it off off the system or anything like that, but it upsets me that this man done a whole surgery for me and dismissed everything. He didn't do a biopsy of the tissue he removed. He just decided it just wasn't endo because he's a specialist, and that was it. And if my doctor wasn't my doctor, they would have just said, "That's it, you don't have endo," and I would have had nothing to go off. But because my doctor is a good doctor, he was like, "No, it's fine, don't worry, we're still going to treat it like endo." I don't know why he didn't biopsy it. I don't know why they haven't done this. And when he tried to get in contact with the hospital, they said that he had signed me off as a bowel issue and bad periods, and that was it. So that's kind of where I am in my treatment. They've given me the implant to put in, and I had to do it because I had no choice. I hate hormones. I really despise them. I've had the injection and I've had the implant before. I don't take the pills because I can't swallow tablets. So I just didn't want it. I didn't want the coil. Just didn't want anything up. I honestly didn't want anything up there. I had enough of it all. But basically, I was told that if I don't have any hormonal contraceptions, then I'm basically not helping myself, and if I don't help myself, then they can't help me, basically. So I said I'll give them till December with this implant. I mean, it has stopped my periods, which obviously was giving me a lot of pain, but it upped my daily pain. by taking away my periods. Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
There is some good and also some bad with it. So it's kind of like, which one would you prefer?
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly don't really know. I'm just kind of sitting in the bubble.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of where I am with my medication and treatments and stuff.
Thank you so much for sharing all of that, because it is such a great way for people to understand, you know, kind of like the ins and outs of chronic illness, diagnosis, trying things, doctors dismissing you. I mean, you've experienced it all. Mm-hmm. And thank God for the doctor that did listen to you. And I encourage everyone who's listening, if you don't have that one who like hears you, find them, keep looking, because they do exist. Mm-hmm. And this is going to sound really sexist, so don't judge me, everybody, but he's a dude and he believes you. That is like so nice, because I think that there is like a stigma out there that like men OBGYNs or whatever cannot understand. But that being said, my OBGYN in Montana, he's not currently my OBGYN anymore. He was amazing. And he was also the same person who like listened to me. And it was thanks to him that he sent me on my diagnosis path, where I got diagnosed with Crohn's disease. And so shout out to men. So see, that wasn't sexist. Yeah. I'm basically being like, yeah, boys, right?
I feel like some of you are really great.
Yeah. And I definitely relate to like choosing the lesser of two evils. You know, if you're like, you know, it's great because I don't have my periods, but my daily pain is worse. That is often part of the journey as well, is because I don't take painkillers because they make me so nauseous. And then they usually make most people like constipated. And that can be a nightmare for when you have Crohn's. And so I went like 2 years not taking a single form of pain medicine because it just wasn't worth it. But then like ever since my surgery 2 months ago, and they gave me painkillers again, I'm like, actually that relief is worth it. You know, just having a little bit of relief, the nausea, it's worth it. Although I did take a painkiller on Wednesday, and then like my tummy's been upset literally since then. So now I'm like, hey, that wasn't worth it. But so I totally understand that dilemma also.
I just add about the your like medications and stuff. I tried these Nausea Bands. I don't know if you've ever tried them, but they're really helpful. Like, I didn't think it would work, honestly.
What are they?
I've seen those.
Yeah, they're basically just bands, and they have like this little ball thing that sits, I don't know, where it's like a pressure point.
Yeah, and like an acupressure point, I think, is where it's supposed to sit.
Yeah, and it sits in there. After like half an hour, like the nausea like calms down, and when you take it off, you see the difference. Like you can feel like the nausea coming.
What is it called? A nausea band?
Either Nausea Bands or C bands.
I have seen those, but I hadn't talked to someone, because I've seen them, and I'm kind of the same as what it sounds like you thought of originally, of like, there's no way that works.
I'm looking it up on Amazon right now.
Like, no. But I'm so glad to hear that it has helped you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I hope if someone's listening and is like, I'm struggling with nausea.
Well, our dear friend Jackie Chelsea, remember? Yes. She's been so nauseous.
And I hope that by the time this episode comes out, and
she's not.
Hi, Jackie. That she's no longer nauseous.
Yeah, because otherwise that would really suck. That would be a long journey for her.
Fingers crossed. But thank you for being so open with that, Renee. That's a lot. The feedback we get from this podcast is that people love hearing that they're not alone. And kind of like Cassie was saying, what you just described of your experience is one that we hear a lot. And so I think the more that we can bring to light that it's not just a few people that are going through this, it is person after person after person after person after person. Hopefully it starts to become one, just doctors start believing people and giving you the healthcare that you need. And then also I hope that chronic illnesses and what a spoonie is and that experience just becomes more widespread, so that if someone does find a diagnosis, it doesn't take that long period of time to be able to find a community that you're like, okay, people understand me. I know what to do. I have people to help guide me. Pardon the interruption, but Cassie and I want to make sure that you know about this amazing resource that we are so excited to be able to offer you guys. We put our heads together, and Cassie and I created our Mastering Energy Management Workbook. It is a 21-day workbook designed to get you in touch with your energy, what you really want in your life, and then give you tools to actually make that freaking happen. Cassie and I have gone through this process ourselves multiple times, and each time we learn something new and we get a little bit more in touch with ourselves and our energy levels. You can find our workbook on Amazon for either a Kindle copy or a paperback copy, and the link will be in the show notes. We also have 21 days of podcasts going through each day of the workbook. So if you want to get an idea of what we're talking about, make sure to check those out on our podcast. Now back to the show. So thank you. I have a question, because having a chronic illness and being in that level of pain, that takes a toll on you mentally, physically, emotionally. But you're also going to school, and not an easy school. That is not easy stuff to be a lawyer, or what did you call it? A barrister. Yes. Okay. I'm learning the
That's what they call them in Australia too.
Okay. Well, the states like to be different for not good reasons.
I'm watching a show on barristers in Sydney and in Australia right now. So,
so Renee, I'd love to kind of hear how you balance going to school, working, taking care of yourself, showing up on social media, and then trying to, I'm sure, have as much of a social life as you possibly can within all of those things. Like, how do you attempt to balance all that and still take care of you so that you can feel your best?
There's a lot of tears. I'm gonna be honest. It's a lot
tears
of tears.
Can be really good. They can be very therapeutic.
Definitely. But what I've tried to do is just try different things, have kind of schedules and that kind of stuff, and just kind of prioritize. So at the moment, because it is my third year, education is my main priority. So if it means that I post less on social media, I post less. If it means I take longer to message people, I do. And because of COVID, the social aspect is kind of okay at the moment.
Which sometimes can be nice. I have had moments, not that I'm glad that I'm not going to school anymore while this is going on, but there's a part of me that's like, man, I may have gotten better grades.
The thing is, for my university, is that I have Mondays, which is all day lectures from 9 until 5:45, and
that's a long day of lectures.
Yeah. We have a 2-hour break at 1:30 or something like that, where you can go and eat or whatever. But it's a long day. But then Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm on campus, so I have to go into school still. Whereas other universities don't. That's kind of the only downfall. But at the same time, because it's such an interactive course, I need that face-to-face kind of interaction. I think when I'm at home, especially being on medications, the brain fog, just feeling unwell, when you're out of it, you kind of put a brave face on because you're outside. Also, you kind of put it to the back of your mind and you kind of just get on with it, so I can study a lot better in school than at home. That's the first thing. When it comes to friends, I have lost friends due to being ill and stuff. Some people just won't understand, and unfortunately they just either will never will, or until they get sick or someone around them gets ill, they won't ever understand this lifestyle, and that's okay, it just is what it is. But my good friends, they understand and they're very accommodating, so they will either come and visit me, or we'll do something like we'll go out to dinner, whatever, or just something where I can easily maneuver myself, and that's okay. But with my school schedule, I do Monday to Wednesday, I do schooling. Thursday is my day where I just stay in bed. I basically doing nothing. It's just my rest day. It's dedicated to nothingness. And then
good to have a day where you don't do anything.
Yeah.
I think that's healthy for everybody.
Exactly. And then Friday to Sunday, then I study and do everything I got to do for the following week. And then that's basically my week. And then in between that, I will take my Instagram posts or any videos that I need to do, any podcasts like this that I've got to do, any sponsorships or whatever I've got to do. I just kind of fit that around how I'm feeling and how much energy I have, because sometimes, especially with uni, there's a lot of work one week and less work the other week, so it would just kind of depend how my body and how I'm doing. So that's kind of how I'm fitting everything in. This year, as I said, has been this year, when I mean this year, not like 2020, but this academic year, so from September, has been a lot easier than last year academic year. Last year was really hard. I wasn't coping. I was struggling with everything. I was trying to juggle working part-time, and that was really hard. And the only reason why I haven't worked is because of COVID. I was getting furloughed, but then he couldn't afford to keep me. Last month was my last month on sick pay, and this month I am now unemployed because of COVID. So, I mean, it has its benefits because now I can focus on studying, but then financially it's a bit of an issue. So I'm now applying for PIP. But I know that's another journey because they don't register endometriosis as a disability. So getting PIP is going to be so difficult. But that's kind of where
sucks.
Yeah. Literally.
I didn't realize that. I wonder if that's the same in the States. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the same in the States.
I'm not sure.
I don't know. I mean,
I'm looking it up right now.
But that's a whole extra added challenge. I mean, you're right. Not having to work is nice because you get that time back, but it's kind of like you were talking earlier when like taking certain medications, does it help you? Is it worth not having it? Is it more worth to not have the time to study or to not be stressed financially?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that stress as well, that plays on you when it's like when you're stressed out, your flares are worse because you're just completely tense in your body, and which is why I'm trying to like push myself away from like how I feel financially. Like I'm not completely broke at the moment. I still got money and I'm going to start tutoring again. So it should be okay. I should be able to make ends meet. And also I have my family. If things like, go bad, I won't starve. Also in the new year, hopefully the shop will reopen. I will be able to go back to work, so it's not completely all is lost. So I kind of have to just look at it from another point of view, because if I look at it from the bog standard, like this is what it is, I will crumble, and crumbling's not going to help anybody. So
that perspective is props to you for being so strong and looking at the silver lining, because it would be so easy to go the other way. And in my mind, there's nothing wrong with crumbling, but you're right. It's not going to necessarily help you to focus on that.
And looking at the positive for anyone else who's a student of any kind out there, sometimes you are going to be like broke and it's hard to make ends meet and it is challenging, but then, you are working towards setting yourself up in the future. And it is so hard being chronically ill, and your health forces you sometimes to not be able to work or get through it. And I think that's something we definitely want to bring awareness to, is it's not like you can every day in and day out, just tough it out and keep going. And that's, I think what people just don't understand is it's like, sometimes it's kind of like, oh, it's just one day you can get through, but it's one day every day.
Yeah. It doesn't end.
Yeah, it doesn't end. And like, I don't know if you remember, Chelsea, and I think it was like in February, you had that really bad cold. It was probably the Rona.
I'm not convinced that it wasn't not coronavirus. It wasn't the flu, but the symptoms were very similar.
Yeah, your cough was redonkulous.
It was
But bad. Chelsea said, she's like, I have been, so sick, body aches all week. This has been so hard. She canceled just a few work things, but mostly kept going. And she said, she's like, this has got to be what it's like for you every day. Okay. And I just appreciated that thought so much, because that is how it is. It's like every day. And so when we went into lockdown here, I think that we locked down just before the UK did. And because of Boris, but anyway, so we locked down just before you guys did. And during that time, especially when it first started, like, I had been needing a break. I had cut my work schedule back. And so I was kind of panicking because I had zero income then coming in. But there was the other part of me that was like, okay, I have been like sending out to the universe that I like needed a break. And now I've been given a break, rest. And I started sleeping in, which is the first time in my life I did that. So it is, I think, really great that you have kind of chosen that perspective. And like you said, the new year will roll around and hopefully you can go back to work and in person. And Yeah, I really hope that you can qualify for that government assistance too. I did just look it up. It did say that in the US, although it's not necessarily considered a disability, endometriosis, that the government recognizes that it can be challenging enough that you can qualify with endometriosis for disability. For our listeners in the US that are listening to that, for the UK, get out there and demonstrate. Tell them to approve it.
Send all the letters to all the people.
Honestly.
Yeah, send all the letters.
What you were just saying as well about COVID and everything. Yeah, literally after my surgery, I went back like 2 days and then they closed my work, and I was over the moon because I didn't know how on earth I was going to work. I was like, oh my gosh. And also my second semester of university, I was grateful it was online because I had no clue how I was going to finish it, because I was in so much pain and I was definitely not getting enough like medication to get through it. So there was some benefits on like it pausing and like slowing down like the whole kind of economy and stuff. Like for me personally, like it was helpful. And what you were saying about sleeping in and everything, like, yeah, I feel like I'm constantly on the go. There's no stop. So when it all stopped, I felt actually worse because my whole body was like, whoa, you need a break, you know. But it was like you need to get worse before you get better, you know. Like I feel like I needed that down slope to get to where I am now. So yeah, it was helpful. I get what you mean.
Yeah, I felt the same way. At first I was like, holy shit, Mike, because it's like when you're on the go, then your body is like, I don't know, let's go. It's and relaxes, and it's almost like kind of overwhelming. Yeah. And then
so I experienced that when I was in school. I felt like I would always get sick after finals, and I was always thankful it wasn't during finals week. But I think there is something that when you're in a certain level of stress, that your body is like, I have to keep going. And so it kind of does. And then when you have that moment to just breathe and chill, then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I don't have to keep pushing. Here's all the shit you were holding back all at once. And then at that point, you can start to kind of feel better and get better. Like I always felt like my immune system got me through what I absolutely had to do. And then the next week I was like,
I think your adrenaline got you through.
Probably.
More than the immune system. And I think your immune system was like crying for help, but your adrenaline was like, I got you. We're going to keep going.
That and coffee.
Yeah.
Endless amounts of coffee.
Yes. Endless amounts of coffee. Exactly. So I want to ask Renee, so your page is, and hopefully a lot of our listeners who are not driving while listening to this have hopped over to look at your Instagram while listening to the episode. But I love your body positivity. And I mean, and for body positivity, because now there's starting to be some negative connotations about that usage. And so like the words of body positivity.
Can we just be happy about something? World, can we just have something be positive and not be like, well, this is the negatives, but like.
Yeah. So for those of you who might be hearing me saying body positivity and being like, that's now socially incorrect, I would just like to say that I'm all about the like owning your body, loving your body. Everybody is beautiful, like normalizing what our real bodies look like. So that's what I'm referring to with the body positivity. And so I love that on your page. And I also love how open you are about embracing your sexuality and like how that shouldn't be shamed or, you know, hidden or closed off, especially with having a chronic illness. Like you can still, you know, be all that in a bag of potato chips. So will you share, I don't even know like what my question is. I just want you I want to hear you like talking about that sort of platform, that part of your sharing on your page.
Yeah. I'll talk with the body positivity first. I last year around September is when I started to get like my fitness into like gear, because I put on some weight during the years, you know, the college weight, the uni weight, and I found that I wasn't very happy with what I looked like. I was very swollen, very bloated. I found that it was less actual fat and more swelling and bloating that I just couldn't get to grips with. And also I've never had regular periods, so that's because I have PCOS as well. So I was finding, it was all going hand in hand, the swelling, and then getting like, like acne on your face when you had like coming on your periods, all of that jazz was doing my head in. So I thought, okay, do you know what, let's do a whole life change. And I changed my diet, and I started doing hot pod yoga like 4 times a week, sometimes 5 times a week. And oh my God, my body was looking fire. Like, it was great. But also my periods came back, and like that was the main thing. My periods came back. Like, I say back, it was never there, like it was always irregular, but it came monthly. Like, I got my periods to come monthly. With that, it made my endo worse because my periods were such hell. My doctor said, if my periods come like this all the time, I'm going to become anemic. So we got to do something about it. So it was like a catch-22, but I was happy that I got my periods back. So it meant that like my body was being healthier and things were moving. So during that time, I got very fixated on what I looked like, because even though I was exercising, looked great, no matter what I did, like I was still bloat and I was still swell so much, like especially when I was flaring, it would be like a whole different body. My jeans wouldn't fit, and my trousers would feel so uncomfortable, and like my bras, like, the bottom wire, like it just it just was not nice. And I realized that no matter what I did, I have a chronic illness and it causes swelling and it causes these things, and I've got to accept that my body's going to continuously change throughout the day, throughout the week, throughout the month, like, and that's okay. And then I had my burn injury in January, where I ended up basically burning myself. I had 3rd degree burns on my thighs because I dropped not even dropped, the hot water bottle I was filling, and it kind of came out, and fell on my thighs. I was in university studying with my friend, and she had to call the ambulance. And
God.
Yeah, I was in and out of the burns unit for like 3 weeks, and I was on a walking stick, and I had massive bandages, and I still sat my exams and everything.
Oh my gosh,
you were a trooper.
I know. I'm like feeling afraid right now with my little hot water bottle right here. I'm like, don't burst on me.
Cassie is sitting on her hot water bottle, for those of you that cannot see the video.
But it was so scary, because I knew that, like, hot water was dangerous, but I didn't know it could like burn your skin like that. Like, it was nuts. So yeah, that kind of happened. And during that time, obviously I had like nerve damage in my legs and stuff, so I couldn't do anything, couldn't exercise, whatever. So there was that month that I had off. Then a month after, I had my surgery, so there was no like going back to fitness. And when I came from my surgery, it was just constant pain, so there was no going back to fitness. Like, no matter how much I wanted to, no matter how much I tried, it was like I would do an hour of yoga and just that was it. I'd be flaring for 2 weeks. And I really wanted to work out, and even still now I really want to work out, and I want to do these things, but realistically my body just isn't ready for it, and that's okay. So because I'm not doing a constant fitness, my body has changed, and I've gained weight because, well, I'm not doing fitness. I'm on hormones, and I'm on 2 different types of opioids. Like, you're gonna gain weight or you're gonna lose weight, but your body will change, because these things we put in our body changes our bodies. And that is something I have had to take time to come to grips with. And I took like a week to like off social media and off everything, just to kind of look at myself and just talk to myself and like say, like, am I ready to do the month for body positivity? Because I was gonna start it. I think I started it, then I stopped, and I thought, I'm not gonna put out like posts on like love your body when I didn't feel like I was loving my body, because that was just so fake, and I didn't want to do that. So I took a week out, and I just allowed me to be me, and spoke to myself, and kind of listened to some like just positive affirmations, and kind of just allowed myself to be, kind of just also watched what I was eating a little bit more as well, because I knew that I was letting myself go completely, because I was just sad and in pain, and just felt like eating whatever. But during that week, when I started to kind of like watch what I eat, not exactly like stop eating everything I was eating, but just kind of like, instead of eating the whole packet of cupcakes, just have one, Renee, you don't need all of them, and all that kind of stuff, it kind of made me feel a lot better. So that's why I started doing the whole body positivity, because I think it's important, especially in the Spoonie community, because you're on so much different things and it changes your body involuntarily. Like, it's not your fault, no matter what you do. And I think it's really important to still have that love for yourself, because there's nothing you can do. Like, you can work out every single day and it not make a difference. Like, it's not you, and it's really, really, really important. And then with the whole like sexuality and stuff, and like your sexual health and sex in general and partners and relationships, it's had a really, like, me being ill has had a toll on my relationships, because I either hide it or I tell them too much and it kind of scares them. And it's kind of like finding that balance, and also finding a good partner, and also when to speak about it and who you're telling. If it's like a one night stand, it's just not necessary, I don't think. Like, you just do your thing. But if you're someone that's more serious, then maybe you want to like talk to them about it and like the challenges you have and all those kind of things. And also like in the bedroom, like accessibility, for example, the way you put your pillows, or like not penetration, or these kind of things. And I think it's really important that you have those conversations with your partner so that you can feel comfortable, because I went years with just allowing myself to be in so much pain during sex just for my partner's pleasure, because I didn't want him to think, oh, she can't do what a woman does. I didn't want him to think that. But as I've grown up, it's like, well, this is the way or no way. I want to make sure that I'm comfortable, and I want people to know that, because I didn't know that. I thought it was normal, and I thought I just had to deal with it. And you don't have to just deal with it. It's okay to need like, a break. It's okay to need like extra pillows, or, whatever you need, to make yourself and your experience more comfortable. It's okay to have that. And just to speak up and not be afraid to share those parts. If you're going to be intimate with someone, then you can tell them that too, So yeah, that was kind of the reasoning behind those 2 like months in my page.
Yay. I'm so glad that you shared about all of that. That's like, I don't even know what to say. I'm just sitting here like, yes, yes to everything that you said, everything. I mean, that freedom of just accepting your body. And I appreciate that you said that you weren't even loving yourself and your body. And so how can you post about it? And I think that is maybe one of the misconceptions also about body positivity, is you don't have to necessarily like love every piece of yourself, but you don't have to like hate it. It's really about getting to a neutral place where it's like, my leg is my leg, and my tummy is my tummy, and my skin is this thing holding my body together in one place.
It makes me waterproof.
Yes, exactly. It makes me waterproof. And so sometimes just getting that perspective to a neutral place so that you're not feeling the stress and the negativity and the anxiety and insecurity about not liking your body. And so, Chelsea, that reminded me while Renee was talking that we did that kind of like self-love challenge back in December or January.
Did.
And I think that we need to do that again. Maybe February. Yeah, maybe that was February. Maybe it was like a Valentine's Day thing for like loving yourself.
Valentine's Day thing.
For yourself. Yeah. So we need to do that again, by the way, because we talk about this in there, is like the goal isn't even necessarily to like love your body. The goal is to not treat your body as your enemy.
Not hate yourself.
Yeah, not hate yourself. And so I really love that you addressed that. And then talking about that sexual health and talking with your partner and pillows and whatever you need to do to feel comfortable, and that those conversations can be had. And I also appreciate that you're like, it might be with a one night stand. Yeah, you don't have to share everything that you want. Like, it's not that none of their business. You can also just be like do whatever you want, be a normal human being in quotes, to just do your thing and get yours, because we deserve that too. And, you only have to disclose like whatever you want when you feel comfortable. And so I'm really glad that you addressed that too. I absolutely agree with and love everything that you said.
Thank you.
Yay.
So one last question that I have for you before we wrap up is, what do you do when you're having like a really, really bad day? If you're having, whether it's a flare or just a high pain day, What do you do to kind of just take care of you? What's kind of your like go-to flare helper things?
Mm-hmm.
However, that question needed to come out.
I'll do two. So one is for like at home and one is for like on the go.
Yes.
Perfect.
When I'm at home, I kind of know when a flare is like gonna come up. So I definitely cook beforehand and like pull it in the fridge. If I can't, I just order. But I would order something that's not fried, like some kind of like rice and chicken, something just, real food. I'll just get that. That's first of all, because you definitely need to eat. Painkillers on the go have to be there. Electric blanket is under my like sheet at home in bed. I use that every night anyways, but I have that. Also my heating pad. I started using this CBD like muscle rub. It's from BU period. That's really good. Also deep heat. Yeah, that's really good. Also deep heat for my back and my groin areas. I use that. I also use, what else do I use when I'm at home? Oh, these patches as well. They're from BU period as well. And I stick them like under my stomach, like where your like lower stomach part is. And I just kind of stay in bed and I don't give myself any expectations for the day. I will watch Netflix, watch YouTube. I literally just pamper myself. If I want to do a face mask, do my hair, like whatever it is that you can't do because like, you've got a busy day or blah, 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 I would just do in like my bed and my facilities and, put my fairy lights on, close my curtains, close the world off and just kind of have my little bubble of a day. And it's okay to have those days where you just kind of don't really talk to anyone. Obviously let people know you're alive, but just kind of stay in your bubble and just kind of pamper yourself. Make sure you have enough medications. Don't like, oh, I'm not going to take it because I took 2 yesterday. No, if you need it, take it. Apply yourself in heat because that helps great, and just massage yourself in things like CBD and like heat rubs and stuff like that. Like I pamper myself in a bubble. When I'm going out, obviously I can't do the same thing because I have to go outside. So I do an hour of prep where I do kind of the same thing with like the heating and stuff. I also pack my bag with medications. I take a suitcase to university that has everything in there already. So I have on the go like patches, the balm, the heat rub, my heating pad, everything goes inside of that suitcase. It goes everywhere I go. So when I get to uni, I can plug in my heat pad and sit down. Also make sure you take your painkillers. Also have a really hot shower because it keeps your body like hot, and also you just feel really nice. But yeah, that's kind of what I do like when I'm on the go. The nausea bands for when I'm on the train and like the tubes, because that is like, I feel like the motion is like when nausea is at its peak.
I thought I was going to die on the London Underground last year. When I was going, our hotel was like near Heathrow because we were going to be flying out, and we went to like Harrods and everything. And it was like 8:15 at night when we were taking the tube back. It was just a little late. And I swear, I thought I was going to die. And there was this one like tiny window that was cracked open. And I was just like, air, air. I was so nauseous, that like ricketiness. And I was just like, next time I'm going to have to like pay for a taxi,
Yeah. The tubes are really horrible when you have nausea. Like anytime when I know that I'm not feeling well, I always make sure to like dress appropriately and make sure that like I don't have huge jumpers on. I have things I can take off when I get on the tube. That's another thing, because the more like hot you are on the tube, the more you want to throw up. So I make sure that I do that. And then also what you said about cabs and stuff, I just make sure I have emergency money. Like I have a like change at home where I keep just for cabs, because I know that I might get stuck, and like that is just essential. Also like when you're wherever you're going on your high flare days, just let them know, whether it's your manager or your colleague or someone that's going to help you throughout the day. I always let my lecturers know. I email them on my way to uni saying, hi, I'm going to be late, or hi, this is the issue today, so that you don't feel bombarded, because I hate when I'm having a high pain day and my lecturer's sitting there asking me questions like, Renee, what's the answer? Renee, look, I don't know. Today, I don't know. I'm just here to take notes. And it's so important. It's so important that they know.
Good point.
Yeah. I'm really glad that you shared that, just
Yeah.
communicating and letting people know, because I definitely know what you mean too. When you are in like a lot of pain and not feeling well, you can like be writing and taking notes, having no clue what's going in your ear and onto the paper. I'm sure that that's the case for actually many a student who is just brain full of stuff.
Yeah.
But you just can't interact. That's what happened on our podcast interview, our last one. Brain fog was to the max, and I like could not get my questions out and into words. I feel like I'm on it today, but last time. So that's great that you kind of give that heads up and tell your professors and everything. So that's great advice for those other students who might be experiencing the same thing.
And just, I think anyone, just letting anyone, whether you're a student or like you said, if you're going to go to work and you're going to be around colleagues, just being like, hey, I'm not 100% today. So this is not a good time to ask me for questions, for really challenging answers. Like, bare minimum, I'm here.
Yeah.
That's what you're going to get. I think that having that open line of communication of where you're at is really important.
Yeah.
And I think we could all do a little bit better job at that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I know. Like, Chelsea, you're probably one of the only people that I do that with, where I'm just able to be honest. But like, then that you're also the person that I don't feel stress and pressure about having to show up. And so, yeah, having that more open communication is huge. This was such a great chat.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that we got you on the podcast. Thank you so much for coming on with us. And I kind of want to ask too, like, just, this is like a new random thing, but I sort of want to start asking people like what their favorite thing that they're watching is right now.
Just we all need more entertainment ideas.
I mean, yeah. So what's your favorite thing that you're watching these days, Renee?
Oh, mate.
I
There's
know.
loads of stuff on Netflix.
I know.
Social Distance is actually quite interesting. I found that really good. That's on Netflix.
Oh, I saw that. I put that in my to watch list. It looked very interesting.
I didn't. Really I don't know about it. I'm going to write it down.
And Rocks is like, I think it's a movie. Yeah, that was really good. And The Last Tree, that was a good film too.
Oh, I've been obsessed with Love Island on Hulu. I watched all 6 seasons of Love Island UK, and I really did. And might I add that like some of those seasons have like 50 episodes in it. Like after my surgery, I think I watched like 60 hours of freaking Love Island in like 2 weeks. Super proud of it. But I like loved all of the British banter because that's like my family. And so for me, it was really nostalgic. And I was like, I'm in England with all of these people. This is great, And so I when I'm in a flare and I'm wanting to like curl up and watch TV, trash TV is where it's at for me. So I do not have to use my brain and I can like completely shut off. And otherwise with my stepdad, we like to watch a lot of like mystery shows and murder mysteries and lawyer shows and stuff like that.
Aww.
Chelsea, what are you watching?
Well, I'm always watching The Office.
And Harry Potter.
Always. Well, we haven't started our yearly rewatch yet because apparently we can only rewatch it one time a year. So, but it's coming up. We normally watch it around the end of the year. Who knows? Sweet. Maybe we'll watch it tonight.
Ooh.
We're recording this a week before Halloween.
Yeah.
And I kind of told my fiance he could pick a scary movie to watch, which means we need to watch something light and fluffy afterwards. So maybe Harry Potter will win.
Yeah, I can't watch scary movies. I really want to see the new Witches movie with like Anne Hathaway, but it's on HBO and I don't have HBO.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
But I think, isn't that the Roald Dahl? Didn't he do the Witches? Yeah, because so I want to see that.
Pretty sure.
Anyways, well, it was great to have you, Renee. I'm so happy.
Before we go,
yeah,
Renee, how can people find you on the internet?
I'm literally just on Instagram. That is where I'm at Ray.
Perfect.
That's all that Ray does it on Insta.
Yeah, and we'll link that in the show notes.
Go follow Renee. She's amazing. Very inspirational.
Yeah.
I love your posts.
Yeah,
they're so much fun.
Yes, me too.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Renee. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule, and good luck with university.
Yeah.
And being a barrister.
Thank you.
I remembered it. I remembered what it is.
Yay.
Thank you.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Please write us a review to help us reach more people like you.
If you'd like to connect with Cassie and I, you can find us on Instagram at The Real Spoonies Unite. You can also join our private Facebook community, Spoonies Unite, or you can visit our website, therealspooniesunite.com, for all sorts of resources and to stay up to date with our current projects. And don't worry, you can find all of these links in the show notes below.
Thank you to our wonderful Spoonie patrons for all your support, and you can become one too. That's right. All you have to do is go on over to patreon.com/therealspooniesunite, and you can get all sorts of extra goodies like videos of our episodes and more.
Any support is greatly appreciated. It helps enable us to create more content for all of you, as well as make this podcast sound better and better. Thanks for listening. We can't wait to be back in your ears soon.